We are those guys. Hey, you see these guys over there? Well, what about those guys? I'm Alex Hardy. With me, as always, that's former 10-year NFL safety Nick Ferguson. Week 2 is officially underway. The Green Bay Packers taking care of business against the Washington Commanders 27-18. So we'll spend some time there before looking at a Super Bowl rematch and maybe some other things on the slate. Nick Ferguson, what's going on, my man?
It is Thursday night, and the Green Bay Packers, the cheeseheads, just keep on cheesing.
So is it the offense and the efficiency that Jordan Love has, especially throwing over the middle of the field? Is it that defense that just got a supercharge with the NFL's best pass rusher? Where do you want to start with this one, Nick?
Well, you know what? I'm a defensive person by mind,
Jordan
but
Love it is. So
but
how about that
but
ability
yeah.
to
Let's go to the offense. Yeah,
So Jordan Love's best work was over the middle of the field. We saw how this team adjusted after
yeah.
they had this explosive play set up for Jaden Reed. A holding call offsets a 39-yard touchdown pass, but he lands on the shoulder, the same one that he dislocated last season. So a re-injury, concerned about his long-term for that offense, and they were able to adjust and talk about how this offense utilized not just the skill position groups, but also the tight ends as the focal point of that offense.
Well, what it looked like, it was Brock Bowers in a Packers uniform with Tucker Kraft, because Tucker
My
Kraft,
guy.
I mean, he was the guy. And the one thing that I love about what I saw in the Packers game was ball distribution. Now, when you look at Jordan Love's stats, they're not going to jump off the page. Last game, he had 22 passing attempts. This game, he had 31 passing attempts. The one thing is kind of the beauty of the Packers offense, it goes back to something I experienced here in Denver as a member of the Denver Broncos, and Matt LaFleur comes from that Mike Shanahan tree. The idea was balance. They had a lot of balance. When you look at the other side, Jay Daniels, I think it was 40, 42 passing attempts. That's
Yep.
entirely too many. You want
Yep.
to make sure that your quarterback, he's got quiet feet. And what I mean by that, he's not just running around pressing, trying to make things happen. And that's what we saw from Jordan Love. He took what the defense was giving him. If they were going to give him the one-on-one matchups in man or zone to Tucker Kraft, take those and then lean on Josh Jacobs. That's why the Packers won.
Yeah. And it's funny because you look at Tucker Kraft coming into this season, there was only one tight end who averaged more yards per reception last year. That was George Kittle. Now, a lot of that was uh, how the Packers rotate their receivers. We saw that especially in week 1, and that continued now. I say, look, the best player on that offense is the one that's always going to be on the football field, and that's Tucker Kraft. And we really saw this team transition into more heavy 12 personnel usage when Jaden Reed left that game injured after only playing 5 snaps in the first 2 drives. So the benefit of having a Tucker Kraft and a Luke Musgrave on the field, Kraft's blocking was in effect like having an extra offensive lineman. And that was really set up to put the brakes on Von Miller, who was the big pass rush addition for the Washington Commanders, a point of emphasis that maybe the Commanders missed when they were trying to defend Micah Parsons. How about that defensive side of the football for Green Bay? You talked about the issues Jaden Daniels have. What did you think of how the Commanders adapted to try to not only stop Micah Parsons, but Edgerrin Cooper, Lucas Van Ness? They've got some dogs on that
Yeah.
Green Bay front seven.
Yeah, big shout out, and I got to text him after we wrap. My former boss, who I worked under in San Francisco, Jeff Halfley, he's now
Yes.
leading that Packers defense. And the first thing I thought was, how happy is he that he has a guy by the name of Micah Parsons?
I
And
think Al Michaels said that on the broadcast. Nobody happier, or maybe it was
yeah,
even Kirk Herbstreit. Nobody
yeah,
happier.
than Jeff Halfley. But what Cliff Kingsbury tried to do in Washington, he tried to spread out the Packers defense and try to eliminate some of the big plays that from Michael Parsons. But what Jeff Halfley did, said, you know what? You got Larry Tunsil on the left, you got a rookie on the right. Let's move him on the right side with the rookie so he get a better matchup. And the Packers took advantage of it. And when you look at the box score, 4 sacks on Jaden Daniels And you say,
Mhm.
well, how much of an impact did Micah Parsons actually have? Because it's not showing up on the stat sheet, but it should. It should be something that we now put on the stat sheets. That's pressures. And having that pressure come from either the right, the left, or the middle, it put a little, pressure on Jaden Daniels where he couldn't really do what he wanted to do and get outside the pockets because they had hard edges that were set. And even though I wasn't in the Packers defensive coordinator room, I would like to think because I've been around Jeff Hafley, the idea is you got a mobile quarterback. If he's going to run, if he's going to escape, there's two things you got to keep in mind, Alex. You want to make sure he run up in the middle between in the A gaps and the B gaps. If he gets outside, everyone is coming. You want to have 11 guys in the frame, and that's why they were able to limit what Jaden Daniels could do, both in the air and on the ground.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, for a team that wanted to get big plays, right? We saw the misconnection. We talked about the 69-yarder that could have gone to Terry McLaurin in week 1. Here they are in week 2. McLaurin still needs to get things going, although this time a year ago, Terry McLaurin had 0 touchdowns through the first 2 weeks and then finished with 13. So it may take more time for those two to get connected, but without having those shot plays, those explosive plays, right, you're absolutely limiting what the Commanders' offense can do, and a huge limitation to that was the awful injury that Austin Eckler suffered in that second half of the game, who was, the focal point of that running game. I believe had the most touches, even more so than our guy, Bill. But Austin Eckler, man, 30 years old, it looked like an Achilles. At this point, Nick, I mean, what could you expect for his outlook and maybe what the Commanders have to do, especially since Brian Robinson isn't here anymore?
Well, that was kind of unfortunate to see Austin Eckler go down that way. And I've seen that happen to a lot of players when I was with the San Francisco 49ers. Right before, a couple of days before we left to fly out to play the Minnesota Vikings, Jet McKinnon running a similar route, which is wild, running a similar route just kind of tears up his knee and he was done for the season. It's unfortunate for Austin Eckler, but you got to look at it this way because he's a running back and he's at 30. The team is now going to have to do something that they didn't think that they were going to have to do this year and move on. And you bring up Brian Robinson, who's now with the San Francisco 49ers, who are
Right.
enduring their fair share of injuries themselves. It's going to be
Except to the running back room, I guess.
yeah, so it's going to be interesting. Here's what I would say. Knowing Adam Peters is a former 49ers assistant GM, don't be shocked if they start to look out there and maybe looking for other guys who play in the San Francisco system to bring those kind of guys in and allow those guys to try to get up to speed. But this is a tough situation. You hate to see any athlete, especially a guy like Austin Eckler, go through this. But I mean, Cliff Kingsbury, man, they're gonna have to figure out something because no run game makes it really tough on your quarterback. And no, I'll add this: when you don't run the ball or you can't run the ball, that means now your quarterback is now pressed to have multiple dropbacks. And what that means to the defense, Alex, is we don't have to worry about the run. Just get
No,
upfield, right? Just get
that's
upfield and
right.
make a sack. And that's kind of what we saw tonight.
All right. Well, I guess we'll be watching the Kansas City Chiefs, who made Elijah Mitchell a healthy scratch for week 1. Hey, maybe Raheem Mostert hanging out in Vegas. Like, we'll see, what Adam Peters may be able to do to get this team ready to go. I know Chris Rodriguez has been waiting for his opportunity, and he'll be the next man up for that Washington backfield. So I guess, Nick, let's transition things. We have a pretty comfortable Packers victory. They've become the first 2-0 team in the National Football League. And maybe, Nick, correct me if I'm wrong, they've now officially become one of the teams to beat in the NFC. A couple of big matchups for week 2 set to take place, none more important than the Super Bowl rematch and the team in the NFC to beat, the Philadelphia Eagles. Do you want to start kind of stacking the Packers and Commanders, like where we've sort of figured out how the NFC looks? How does this win for the Packers play out for the rest of the NFC as we approach the rest of week 2 come Sunday?
Well, it changed a lot of things because when you look in that division, you have to say, well, it came down to the Packers and the Detroit Lions. which they're
Yeah,
gonna play again later on in the season, but right now, the Packers now have the edge, right? They now have the
big
edge.
time.
And when you think about the Commanders, who are not in the same division as the Green Bay Packers, but in the same conference, now they also have one up on them as well. So now the Packers hold the tiebreaker for right now over Detroit and the Washington Commanders. So when we start looking at later on in the season, what that number one seed is going to be, because we know that there is no bye week for another team. There's only one team gets that bye. And I'm sure that's what Matt LaFleur is thinking. He's not going to tell his team that right now, Alex, but that's what he's thinking. Right now, we have an advantage over everyone else in the AFC. You think about what's happening in Seattle all week one. You think about San Francisco all week one. And you're saying, okay, well, right now, our true contenders or competitors in our conference, it's the Philadelphia Eagles,
Yeah.
right? So they have to make sure they continue to win, try to stay healthy, which is very difficult, and always try to stay pace or keep pace or ahead of the Philadelphia Eagles.
Well, the important thing to note with Green Bay, and we'll move on to the Super Bowl rematch shortly. The Green Bay Packers now 2-0. They get the extra time off, and you know who this defense faces come week 3, Nick, with 10 days off?
Who's that?
The Cleveland Browns. So can the Philadelphia Eagles match the Green Bay Packers 3-0 start? Because you heard it here first. The Green Bay Packers are going to open the season 3-0. Well, let's get to the rest of week 2. I want to get to, you mentioned the Seattle Seahawks. They've got the
Yeah.
Pittsburgh Steelers. We've got a lot in store. So I think we can add a lot more to this show. Those guys, why don't we bring in the homie, the OG, Mr. Ride the Wave himself. What's up, Blaine? How you
I don't
doing, my
know if I
man?
bring much more to the show, but I'm here. I'm here. I appreciate you guys having me on. Those guys having me on. I love it, man. You guys crushing it with some of this deep diving stuff on the footballs. But here's the thing with Green Bay. That's my Packers now.
Oh,
You know,
wait.
Your
Wait.
Packers.
Have they always been your Packers, or they're your Packers
They've
now?
never been as Packers. They've never been as Packers. As
Oh,
of today, maybe as of today.
no, but I'm just pulling the old Rodney Harrison. Remember when we worked with Rodney, and every time somebody was winning, he would say, "Oh, my Dolphins, oh, my Browns." Every time he
Yeah,
would do that.
yeah.
Man, that was fun times though. But look, the Steelers is what you guys were going for. And I got to talk about last week. Aaron Rodgers. Everybody was waiting for it, right? They were waiting
That's
to see
right.
what he was going to do. The Packers were celebrating an anniversary of what Super Bowl? What was it, like 15 years ago?
Yeah,
And
Rogers
and
Super
here's
Bowl.
Aaron Rodgers, the man that led them to that, still tossing four touchdowns out on the field. That's crazy to me. That's crazy to me. And I think Aaron Rodgers is just out on a revenge tour because you saw the quote. You
yeah.
know, he said, "Anybody, I'm glad to beat anybody associated with the Jets." Nick, you were once associated with the Jets.
Whoa,
That's a
hold
shot
on
at
now.
you.
Wait. He
Huh?
wasn't talking about me. He wasn't
You
talking
sure?
about me. Yeah, positive,
That's
right?
Okay.
that's your move, Blaine. Nick's not
Yeah.
going to say my Jets. That's not him. That's not
Okay,
him.
I'm just making sure. I'm just making, but it is my Steelers. It's always been my Steelers. You know what?
So,
Here's
yeah,
the here's the thing about the Steelers. And I could have put together this graphic with the best and worst possibilities for each team, and all of them would have been 17-0 and 0-17. But the Steelers, best and worst possibility, 9-8, 9-8. That's it.
yeah.
That's it. One way. That's all they're gonna do this year. But they're gonna hit the playoffs, I think, this year. So, what were you gonna ask me, Alex?
No, 9 wins is all it takes. I just, that Jets game meant a lot more, but now they've got a matchup with Seattle. Seattle, frankly, was the better team in week 1. So as long as Pittsburgh beats the teams they're supposed to beat, I'm wondering, Blaine, is Seattle one of those teams? And we had the Rodgers revenge game. Now we have the DK Metcalf revenge game. Although I will say the Seahawks weren't going to pay him, and the Steelers did. So DK's probably thrilled to have his old team back in town.
Oh, it could be. You know what? That's a good point. I think Aaron Rodgers' revenge tour, though, might be. Well, he doesn't really have a revenge of any kind against the Steelers or the Seahawks, I guess, though, right?
Well, they met the Legion of Boom back in the day, I'm sure, Nick, right?
Well, they did, but Blaine, I would say I would disagree, because what happens with DK, this is a revenge tour for DK. So now Aaron Rodgers is saying, well, it's a revenge tour for me as well. He wants every single player now on their team to have some get back, even a guy like Jalen Ramsey.
Yeah.
So to me, this is a revenge tour for Aaron Rodgers. He wants to go scorch earth on every single team. And you know what? Sign me up for it, because that's what happens. You know, they say like there's nothing like a woman scorned. The same thing is in play with Aaron Rodgers. He's been scorned. He's listened to people talk about him and his retreats and his dark retreats and all these other things, and him not getting a COVID shot. And he was like, this is my opportunity to shove it up the backside of every single person that is doubted me. Even if that means you, Alex Hardy, we're going to shove it up to you too as well.
Well, listen, fellas, I'll let you go, Blaine. Then I have my own thoughts.
He is rude, brash, arrogant. He just threw 4 touchdowns. The only thing he's not doing is a shoe salesman, and he'd be just the same as Al Bundy. You know what I'm saying? Because Al Bundy threw 4 touchdowns.
There's 4 touchdowns at Polk High. Yep.
I think that comparison is accurate. Is it not? Al Bundy and Aaron Rodgers are
Wait a
very.
minute. Do you think the listeners are actually going to get that reference? Are they going to know that?
Probably not.
I'm the youngest between the three of us, and I was right on it. I don't know, guys. I don't know.
You could. Yeah.
High school.
We've all been humbled in our lives, and I'd say 90% of the times we've been humbled, it's something that our wives told us. Now, Aaron Rodgers just got married this offseason too. Granted, we don't know who she is. Nobody's met her, and Rodgers is essentially playing the card. Yes, she goes to another school. You wouldn't know her. But all this time, he is the lover scorned. I thought this was supposed to ground him, humble him in a way, and yet he's empowered even more so than before.
It has, right? It now being as though his significant other is going to allow him to channel his anger and be more direct instead of being dispersed and all over the place. No. We're giving straight venom to you, and you over there.
So this is his muse. Like he's got a muse.
Yes, exactly.
Focus. They're like, whoever this is, this individual has focused his energy into like a Death Star beam, is what you're saying. I guess this is like we're destroying planets out here. Like that's what's happening.
For Rodgers, he's not destroying planets.
Yeah.
He wants to destroy careers.
Yeah.
He wants to end them. He's like right now a combination of Palpatine and Thanos right now. That's what he is.
Here we go. Here we go.
Unbelievable.
You know who I got to talk about too? Or did Alex have something else to say on Aaron Rodgers? Because I was going to talk about Boswell. Because
you mean who Mike Tomlin called the serial killer?
A serial killer.
Mike Tomlin, when he finds a name for somebody, it sticks. And for he was the MVP last year, and he picked up right where he did last year. Because that's the thing. This Aaron Rodgers revenge tour doesn't happen if the Jets special teamer Xavier Gibson doesn't drop that fumble, immediately gets cut. Hey, shout out your dude, Aaron there, Nick, because that kind of Jets nonsense, the guy muffs the punt, they lose the game. He's off the team already. Picked up by the Giants, so he doesn't really have to change locker rooms, which I guess worked for him. But shout out the team making that change. But Boswell is the reason that we're even talking about Aaron Rodgers this way, right? Like, he is just a weapon. Like, I'd call him a weapon. Mike Tomlin takes it a step further, calling him the guy who wields the weapon. So I'm thrilled that Boz picked right up where he left off from a year ago.
Can you believe, out of all the things that he's done, I even said it last year on this show. I said, Chris Boswell, watch out. Like, he's going to be the MVP. He could have got the MVP last year. I would have thrown my vote to him. He single-handedly won games for them last year. Like, there was an 18-point game they won, and all 18 points were his.
Correct. And there were like 3 or 4 50-yarders.
Man, I love what he's doing. And I couldn't believe that was his career long. Are you kidding me?
Yep.
All the stuff he's done.
I'm glad we took the sidebar with Boz, but I did want to kind of keep the marriage and the wedding and the wifey thing kind of going, because the other game to talk about is the Super Bowl rematch. And the biggest difference from this time a year ago, no, it's not the additions made in the offseason. No, it's not the Eagles hanging their championship banner. It's Travis Kelce getting engaged, my man. I mean, he's a completely changed person. And I think because of the engagement, he's sort of trying his best to reel things in. He had the GQ exclusive saying his head wasn't necessarily in the game. And then fast forward to week 1, we talk about this game in Brazil where this team left more damage than when they showed up. And we finally figured out what happened. The reality of what happened on that play to Xavier Worthy. We dug through and we found exactly what happened. Guys, I have to show you,
Let's see.
shout out the real reason as to why Travis Kelce got himself involved with
Of my
Xavier
house
Worthy.
All right, let's see this.
screaming, "We drafted Xavier Worthy!" And my friends are like, who body snatched you? What do you mean? We drafted Xavier Worthy.
I forget where I was, but you were the first person to tell me that.
No,
we
I was
drafted the
screeching.
Bam!
No, I was screeching. I couldn't believe it. I was freaking out. I became like,
So that's what the reality is. Travis Kelce learned Taylor had another favorite player, and he said, "Oh, not in my house. I'm going to marry you. I'm going to take out your favorite player."
Wait, the tinfoil hat theory, as much as I love it, right? This is not an X-Files podcast.
Yeah.
So we're not going to do that.
Let me switch this out for the tinfoil.
Exactly. For the clip that you saw, it was Travis Kelce somewhat getting jammed at the line of scrimmage, knowing as though you had an underneath crosser. One's going low, one's going high because it's designed to pick off one of the defenders. But because he's so in love, he's doing GQ magazines, his head's not in the game, he can't get off a jam. And oh, by the way, what did it lead to? One of his teammates, one of the explosive guys that they're going to depend on with a shoulder injury. Oh, thank you, Travis. Oh, man. See what happens sometimes when you're in love? It just kind of messes with your mind where you can't do the things that you need to. And oh, by the way, let me add this. When we go back to the Super Bowl against the Philadelphia Eagles, it just seemed as though Travis Kelce was there only in body alone. Mind, he wasn't. But he said, well, the reason I came back because I just felt as though I left something out there. Yeah, you did. It's called your game, right? That's what it's called, your game. You were focusing on being Mr. Taylor Swift that you couldn't go out there and do your job. I mean, just watching it, man, as a defender, my heart went out for him because, once again, he was non-existent. And then their GM said, well, you know what? It come to find out that Travis was a little sick. Oh, I'm sorry. I would have been throwing up too if I played that way. That's all. I'm saying.
He apologized for the hit, but let's fast forward to week 2. Is this lack of detail, this focus, does that affect the Chiefs? I mean, they're down, one of their top receivers, and the Philadelphia Eagles were out on all cylinders for week 1. Do they have that much of an advantage in your mind, Nick?
Hell to the yes, because think about this. Devontae Smith didn't have a lot of catches. And A.J. Brown, I think he got one catch in the fourth quarter.
No.
Right? And then we didn't really see Saquon Barkley go wild because the Dallas Cowboys said, we putting everyone in the box. So you have to figure that Nick Sirianni is going to have something different planned for Kansas City. And now Kansas City is without their explosive wide receivers. Yes. Give me the Philadelphia Eagles. And I'm not a betting man. I'm not a betting man. But if I were, I'm betting the house on the Philadelphia Eagles.
I wonder, Blaine, is this game more important for the team that didn't win the Super Bowl compared to the one that did? The Eagles already proved everything, and it's actually the first time that two quarterbacks that beat each other in the Super Bowl are facing off in the regular season. Is there something to the Eagles won the game that mattered most, but KC's looking for revenge?
I think KC's got nothing to lose on this one. I think the Eagles got to win the game. So I think they got to show it again. It's like, if not, then you're going to have what do they call the rubber match. You got the best 2 out of 3 at that point. I think if the Eagles come in there and smack them down, it's like, if we see you in the Super Bowl this next year, we'll do it again too. That's what it'll be. So
No.
I think,
I disagree.
KC's got nothing to lose on this one.
Yes, they do. Because they got their
They could be 0-2.
Listen, they got their asses spanked in the game that really count. If the Chiefs won this regular season matchup, okay, they won. But they didn't walk away with the ring. They didn't change anything. It was a total domination in that Super Bowl. And I think KC scored 20 points to kind of make it look like a game, but it was never a game to begin with. So because Kansas City got their asses spanked, they want to come out here and show, you know what? We can go out and win. There's no Xavier Worthy, no Tyreek Hill. We lack explosion. Our offense didn't look like it had any chemistry playing against the Chargers. But we go out and we beat the Philadelphia Eagles, who only scored 3 points in the fourth quarter against the Cowboys. Yes, that would signify that we're back, and what happened in Brazil was somewhat of a fluke. That's what they're looking for.
He's Nick Ferguson, 10-year NFL safety. He's Just Blaine, the ringleader of this circus that we like to call those guys. I'm Alex Hardy. We're going to continue to bring you all throughout the NFL season. We love these Thursday night recaps because we get to react to a game. You get to hear us immediately, our thoughts before, hot takes come in, and we come up with theories about why Travis Kelce hurts his own teammates. But we'll be back for the rest of week 2. I'm looking forward to breaking down that Super Bowl rematch. Of course, the Aaron Rodgers and DK Metcalf revenge tour. I mean, shoot, Nick, your Denver Broncos. They got those red-hot Daniel Jones, Indiana Jones Colts. So there's a lot to get into. I'm excited. So until next time, guys, we are those guys. You can find us on YouTube if you want to see our beautiful faces, or check out Blaine's sweet cowboy hat. I mean, come on. Or the podcast feed, wherever you get your podcasts. And Nick, I got one thing that I got to show you that, maybe just to sort of send things off. I felt a certain type of way. We came into this pod, and you gave Blaine a compliment on his Johnny Cash shirt. We'll take a look at what I'm rocking. It is the Jake Plummer Snakes Takes. On our way out, my man, what do you have to say about our man Plums?
I love snake steaks, man. That's my dude. One time, Jake actually the offense got booed in the game we were playing against Miami, and you might be able to find it on YouTube where the camera was right on Jake and fans were just giving him the business, and he just happened to tell a fan, just, hey, you're number one, right? And it was actually videotaped. So if that's out there, you're gonna see it. But that's my dude, and I'm not gonna cry. But that is my quarterback.
Really? Of all the quarterbacks. How come? Was it just for the middle finger alone?
Because Jake was different, right? Jake was kind of our football version of Johnny Cash, because he wasn't like your typical quarterback. I mean, Jake loved his team. Anytime he made a mistake, he came to the defense first and said, my bad, get the ball back. I'll go down and we'll score. He wasn't one of those guys where he made a mistake, he stayed to the opposite end of the bench like some quarterbacks and didn't fraternize with us. And Jake Plummer was the only quarterback to ever come to our defensive meetings every week. He was the only quarterback. That's why we loved him.
Yeah.
There it is.
There he is.
We are number one. You're number one. Yes.
Incredible.
All right. Until next time. Peace, everyone.
Peace.